Hello, welcome to the 8 o'clock Math 1401 Zoom meeting. Covering chapter 1 tonight. We have, last I knew, 7 participants. No, we're up to 10. 10 people out there, and I can't see your names with my camera up here. So I guess we'll start with any questions. Anybody want to ask any questions about the syllabus, calendar, introductory materials, anything? Has everyone gotten all the introductory materials? We're up to 12 participants now. Hard to get people to talk on these meetings.
Yeah, I got all the introductory stuff.
Okay, I kind of, something dinged in the middle there. I think whenever I get an email, it dings. Can you repeat that?
I got all the introductory emails.
Okay. Very good. Has anybody got any questions about the syllabus, the calendar?
If you look on the chat, someone asked about nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio.
Oh, okay, the chat. Yeah, I see. You got to understand, I'm a boomer. So yeah, I hardly ever look at the chats. Y'all can be on the chats making fun of me all the time. I'd never know. I never know the difference. Okay, let's see if I find the chats here. Oh, okay.
For some of us, because we have babies in the background.
Yeah, no problem. Can you go over nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio topic? Well, we'll make this really easy. If you'll notice on the assignment, that was a section we left off. Let me see. Yeah, it was called, put it under the camera. It was called level of measurement. And if you'll notice on the assignment, I don't have the assignment written. Well, I guess, yeah, it's over there. I could pull it up here. But we went through 29 and we left off, it's called level of measurement because it just gets very technical. And we're trying to keep this at a basic level. So no, we are not going to cover this. You'd have to know 4 more things. I think it's enough to know all these words on all these sections without getting into these levels of measurements and, you know, your population and sample. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that, and it's not going to appear on the quiz. Does anybody want to know about the format of the quiz tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Oh my goodness, so polite. Okay. Well, I'll give it to you orally. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, please.
Oh goodness, so polite. Okay. Yeah, I'll give it to you orally, and then we will, this will be written down tomorrow in the instructions. But yeah, you know, I told you I had no way of taking up this homework. So what I'm going to do is pick 10 of these. I'm going to call them problems. They're technically not problems at this stage. They will be problems later in the class. They're really questions here, but I'm going to call them problems. And I'm going to take them and I'm going to pick 10 of them and I'm going to write them out with answers. So you will get, that's called my test form. I'm going to mail out a test form, quiz 1 test form that will have 10 of these questions from this homework with answers. Now, some of those answers will be correct. Some of those answers will be incorrect. And so what I'm going to do is have you, in effect, go through that test form and grade me. Now, how are you going to submit your answers? I am going to email an accompanying Google form, and it will have 10 questions on it that will correspond to the 10 problems on the test form. Notice number 1 on the Google form is number 1 on the test form, etc. The questions on the Google form will all be worded exactly the same. They will be worded true or false. The problem is correct. So if you decided that I did the problem correctly, you would answer number 1 correctly, then you would put number 1 true. If you look at number 2, and if you decided I screwed it up and I'm wrong, then you will put false for number 2. And you will go down through all 10 questions and submit the Google form, and the Google form will instantly give you your grade. And it will be recorded, and sometime next week, Monday, Tuesday, next week, I will look at that Google form and write down your grade for quiz 1. If you go through it the first time, maybe you only get 7 right, 3 are wrong, you are welcome to go back and resubmit as many times as you like. All of the responses will be recorded on that Google form, but I will only write down your highest grade. So you can resubmit it many times as you like until you get the grade you want.
Does this Google form
Thank you.
come through email?
I'm sorry, do what now?
Does the Google form come through email?
I will email it out to you. I will also back it up in D2L. By the way, since I have 3 of these classes, I think I'm actually going to email 3 Google Forms, and they'll be distinguished by your CRN. So there'll be one for 6989, one for 6990, and one for 6991. And if you will know your class CRN that you are in and answer on that Google form, it would help me a lot sorting out the responses, save me a lot of time. If you don't do that and you put it on the wrong form, don't worry about it. I'll eventually get you to the right spot. Is this as clear as Lake Lanier?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
sir.
All right, all of this.
I kind of got here a little late. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I kind
no
of got
problem.
here a little late. So you were talking about the quizzes, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, you want the instant replay?
No, I heard the majority of it, but I just didn't really hear like what you were talking about. If you were talking about the homework or the quizzes.
Well, the quiz questions will come from the homework out of the book, practice problem.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, some will be correct, some incorrect. You're going to grade me on it. And if I did a problem correctly, you're going to answer true. And if I screwed it up, you're going to answer false.
All right then. Thank you.
Yeah. Just to give you an example, let's say I pick number 7. Okay, so let's say I type out number 7. Maybe I make it number 1 on the quiz, but it comes from number 7 here. And I have this written out and I say, this is a parameter. I give an answer, this is a parameter. Well, then on the Google form for number 1, it won't be number 7, I would say it's number 1. You would, on number 1 on the Google form, you'd answer true. The problem is correct. Yes, Mr. C, you got that right. It's a parameter. All right, but let's say I pick number 8 and I write it out and I say, no, this is a statistic. Well, you go through and you go, Mr. C, you screwed that up. That's not a statistic. That's a parameter. So you'd answer false, that the problem is correct. They're all worded the same way. The problem is correct, true or false. So if I get it right, you answer true. If I get it wrong, you answer false. By the way, the tests and the final exam are all going to be in this same format. So all the same way, you're going to go through and grade me. There'll be Google Forms to submit your answers. It's the only way I figured out how to do this. Questions about this? All of this will be written down when I give out the quiz and the Google Forms tomorrow.
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. By the way, everybody figured out how to answer the videos, and I'll look at the chat, see if there's any more on the chat. Oh, will we? Oh, okay, good point. No, the tests and the final exam will allow 1 submission only. That is because I've got to have a little bit of academic control on the grade. I can't have everybody. Obviously, on a true false test, if you get it true and get it wrong, then the correct answer's got to be false. And anybody who just goes back through and punches false, that's fine. I can't control that. But if I only allow 1 submission on the tests and final exam, you all know that. Hopefully pay more attention to how to do the problems right and learn. That's what's supposed to happen. All right, let's see. Somebody else chat something? Okay. Will you use the even problems from the homework or just the odd ones you assign? they're fair game. If I think the even ones are close enough, then that's fair game. Sometimes I use some of the even ones. Sometimes I use a direct odd one. Kind of fair game. Anything out of the section I assign that's even is fair game, even if I didn't assign it directly. Okay. Should we go through? I like to make these sessions last at least 30 minutes to kind of prove to my bosses that I'm actually earning my money. And we're not getting a lot of questions. So anybody have any more questions?
I don't remember if you said this on the video or the last meeting we had, but you said test number 2 is going to be recorded, right? Like proctored?
Test number 2 will be proctored.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you want to know the details of that, or I try not to throw too much at you at the beginning and just give you the directions, what you need right at the time. But that's
Yeah, can we have, oh, sorry.
No, that's
Like,
fine.
can we have a little bit of, oh, sorry, a little bit of details about that? Like,
Well-
how is it going to be recorded through Google Forms? Because I never done it like that. I done it to like through D2L.
Right. Well, the Google form will be right there. You click on the link to it and the questions will come up. It should be really straightforward. The proctored test in D2L, that's the only one I'm going to give in D2L other than the attendance quiz. And it will be the exact same format. I will email you the test form ahead of time. And the answer form for the test will be inside D2L. You'll have to use Respondus Monitor. And again, directions for that will be passed out right before you need it for test 2. And that'll fulfill the requirement that 30% of your activities are proctored. But it will look,
All right, thank you.
and it will be the exact same format as these other tests. Yeah, I'd better not say anything about D2L on being recorded. Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
So you said that the quizzes are about like 10 questions long. Is that correct? I couldn't remember, sorry.
No, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, by the way, did y'all figure it out and watch the videos to get your extra credit?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody insulted by the extra
Yes.
credit? Oh, okay, good. And oh, we got up to 16 participants. Very good. Anybody insulted by the extra credit? Anybody out there going, "Dad gum, I don't need no extra credit. I'd watch those videos. I don't need no extra credit."
No,
No, they did not insult you.
no, thank you for giving that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I get thanked. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for thanking me. Okay. No, I didn't do that last semester. I was just thought I'd pass out the videos, have people watch them, and I don't think too many people watch them because you can't mess around on it. You can't tell jokes. You can't really be. You got to pretty much stick to straight stuff because otherwise you just run the file sizes up too big, messing around, which makes the videos pretty much a pretty good cure for insomnia. I mean, they'll probably put you right to sleep. So I thought, well, yeah, maybe I'll try a little extra credit, try to get people to watch them. Hope it worked. If you haven't watched them yet, give them a try and email me the code. Are we ready to go down through some of these questions? See if anybody has questions about that. Did anybody have any problems about parameter or statistic?
Yes, sir. I've been struggling with number 13.
Okay. Yeah, this is an example of a thrilling job. Somebody got paid to stand around a bathroom somewhere in Atlanta, Chicago, New York City, and San Francisco. And they counted to 6,076 adults, and they watched how many people did not wash their hands before they left. And they counted, they took that number of people who did not wash their hands, divided by the 6,076, and got 23%. So really, the only question is, a parameter is a numerical summary of a population. A statistic is a numerical summary of a sample. Are we talking about a sample or population here? Can you tell?
A sample.
Definitely talking about a sample. And therefore, that would make this say what? I don't know if you can read it. A statistic. If it's about a sample, it's a statistic. And how do we know it's about a sample? Because there's a lot more than 6,076 adults in this country. Did that help?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that help? Okay. Anybody else about sample or, I'm sorry, statistic or parameter?
Could you do number 11, please?
All right, let's try that. We have Ty Cobb. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Ty Cobb. He was a very famous baseball star in the 1920s. So it was like 100 years ago. He actually was born in Royston. He's from Georgia and was born in Royston, right up the road. And he's one of Major League Baseball's greatest hitters. He had a career batting average of 366. Okay, so yeah, this is an example of having, it'd be nice to know something about a subject. And then here's the number underlying it, like baseball. Are we talking about a population or population or a sample here? Can you tell?
Sample.
Sample.
You might think you're a sample. Like, what do you think? Because he's one baseball guy? And that's where it gets tricky. The key word here is career. For his entire career, which means every at bat he ever took, he got a hit 0.366 times. And since they're talking about his entire career, all of his at bats, it makes it a population. And since it's a population, that's what makes it a parameter. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, these things can be worded very tricky. They're talking about all of his at-bats. They're picking one guy, but talking about all of his at-bats for his entire career. All right, moving down. What about quantitative versus qualitative? Did anybody want to ask anything about that? 15 to 22 here. Anybody have any? At 12 o'clock, they asked about the phone numbers. Do we need to go over that again?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, everybody can spot a qualitative versus a quantitative situation?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so then if it's quantitative, can you spot if it's discrete or continuous? Do we need to go over anything about that? Discrete, you can only use whole numbers. Continuous, you can use numbers between the whole numbers, fractions and decimals, or things busted into parts. Anybody need to go over anything about discrete or continuous?
No.
No, hearing nothing. Okay. All right, we skipped level of measurement. So then the last thing was population versus sample. Did anyone want to go over any of these? Pretty much every situation here is directly a sample. You see how long 43 is. See, I don't know if anybody's into medical stuff yet or not, but you see how long 43, use a lot of big words like hypertension, and they're telling you that's high blood pressure. So yeah, you see how long this is. You read it, you go, well, if you don't know anything about medical or anything, the medical situation they're talking about, you have no idea what the heck they're talking about. Anybody want to ask anything about population or sample? Anybody want to ask anything about that?
Nope.
Oh, I think you got that. All right, well, the last two definitions. We're on the other page. Observational studies or an experiment. They give you some situations. Anybody have any trouble distinguishing whether something is an observational study or an experiment? Hearing nothing. So everybody can do that. See, if I pick number 9 to be on the test or quiz, actually this Friday, tomorrow, and I wrote observational study, you would write true on the Google form. And then if I pick number 10 and I called number 10 an observational study, you would write false on the Google form. It's not correct. Observational study is not correct for number 10, and you would write false. Is that clear?
Yes.
All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there for the quiz, is there like a certain time we have to take it, or is it like all day until
Yeah.
11:59?
I get it out Friday, tomorrow, and I put the due date on it Sunday night.
Okay. All right.
Make it any time,
Anytime over the weekend. Got it.
anytime over the weekend, yeah. In fact, I don't have any late penalties, so if some people email, I work, all weekend, can't get to it. If you need it till Monday, that's fine. I don't have any late penalties. I'm not paying attention to when you turn it in.
Thank you.
Okay. So I did mail out a definition summary sheet. We went over some of these on the Monday night Zoom meeting. Did everyone get this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
I do.
Yes.
Have any more chats? Okay, good. All right. I'll just go ahead and go over it. We went over some of these, like you say, but all of the definitions should come from this sheet. Statistics, science of collecting, organizing, summarizing, analyzing information to draw conclusions or answer questions. Descriptive are kind of the first two words, although they changed the words to organizing and summarizing. Well, actually, yeah, they left off collecting. Inferential methods that take a result from a sample and extend it to a population. Population, an entire group to be studied. Sample is a part of a population being studied. In a random sample, we didn't mention this, it's in the book. You take every object in the population and you kind of close your eyes and blindly pick. So every object in the population has an equal chance of being selected. Versus there's like 4 other kinds of samples as well, other than these are not the only 2 kinds of samples. I just picked out the 2 most important. In a representative sample, you take care to pick objects in the sample to have the same proportions as the population. So you have to know something about your population, maybe in whatever characteristic, race, gender. Say it's 60% female. So you make sure your sample is 60% female, et cetera. So you want the same proportions in your sample as you have in the population to make it representative. Census is a count of all objects in the population. US government does that. We just finished the 2020 census. So last year there was a census. Every 10 years, the US government is mandated to conduct a census. All right, we've covered parameter and statistic. We mentioned that. Numerical summary of a population, numerical summary of a sample. Qualitative versus quantitative was in the homework. Allows for classification of individuals based on some non-numeric attribute or characteristic. And a quantitative provides numerical measures of individuals. It's discrete, it's counted with whole numbers only. Continuous, counted with fractions or decimals. And we've just mentioned observational study. You draw conclusions about your subjects by observing them. A lot of animal studies. If you watch animal shows on TV, they've gone out in the wild with a camera and observed the animals and come back, edit their footage and put it on TV. Those are observational studies, although they never call them that. In a designed experiment, you take two groups, one experimental, one a control group, apply a treatment and measure the results. Have y'all ever heard of these quotes? 3 kinds of lies.
No.
No, never heard this. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. It goes to the idea that you can find statistics that will support any position that you want. Ever heard this from Joseph Stalin? He was the Soviet dictator in World War II. 1 death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths is a statistic. I've frozen. Here we are. Y'all see how cold that is? If you know someone who's died and you know their details and it happened before it should have, it's tragic. Kill 1 million people, they're just numbers on a sheet of paper. Cold. That's about all I have. It's tough to fill in the 30 minutes at the beginning here. It will get easier to fill in these. Chapter 5 has some tough sections. Chapter 3, a couple sections a little tough. Chapter 7, some sections are tough. So yeah, it gets tougher as we go on. It starts off pretty straightforward. Next week we do section 2-1. Anybody have anything? I'd like to fill 4 more minutes. But if I don't, it's no big tragedy. I've got tenure.
So on my stat lab, we don't have to do all of it. It's just the 1.1.
Only the problems I asked for. Did you see the assignment and the exact problems I asked for?
Yes. Okay. I was just making sure. I think I went ahead and did them.
That's fine. If you want to do more, help yourself. But only report me the grade on the 24 problems there that I asked for. So if you get all 24 right, that's 100. I think 23 out of 24 is 96. And yeah, I understand somebody could do nothing and tell me, yeah, Mr. C, I got 100. Well, presumably you're going to get caught on the tests and final exam when you only get 1 submission if you blow it off. But that is a weakness of online teaching. We're not all gathered together like I have been for 32 years until this all started. I never dreamed it would get like this. We quit. We all around last March when we quit this and went online from March to May? Or are y'all brand new?
Yeah, I was here when that happened.
Yeah,
I was online only.
Oh, online. Yeah, I couldn't believe that happened. And I was sure by fall we'd be back to normal. Boy, was I wrong. So I did online all fall, and now it's after Christmas into the next spring, and doggone, we're still online, or I am, yeah.
I had a lecture and they were planning for it and canceled it.
Oh man. They're filling out the schedule for next fall, and they say we're going to be back to normal, but I don't know. I really wonder. I wonder if this is the new normal. It's a shame, but
Hope not.
Hope not.
yeah, exactly. Can we talk about anything else, or are y'all ready to end the meeting?
Think of anything.
I can't think of anything either.
Okay, if something comes up, you got a question, of course, email me, at my address. Don't be afraid to email me. I keep track of it and try to send everyone a reply. So are we ready to end?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, well, sounds good. And I appreciate all y'all coming out. I hope it keeps up.
Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely. We'll send out the, oh, yeah, I should mention, Monday is MLK Day, so we have to give you all that holiday. So ordinarily, the Zoom schedule, I'll send out a Sunday night, but not next week. It'll be Monday night because we're off Monday. But after that, everything, and things will be due on a Sunday regularly. But next week with MLK, I won't be giving the stuff out until Monday night.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Good night.
Good thing. Thank you.